Hey everybody, welcome to our Unit 1 introduction video, and what you're going to find with all these introductory videos for a unit is I'm just going to briefly go over some of the major content and issues that will be addressed in the chapters for that unit. You can see here where it says Unit 1, for example, we've got chapters 1, 10, and 3, and by the way, I'm going to be jumping around and mixing up the order of the chapters pretty regularly until we get to the very last unit of the course, and then they're a bit more sequential there, but I do mix things up because I kind of feel that the flow of the material is better the way that I've organized it. And when you're the instructor, you get to do those things. So I'm going to control what content I'm going to present and when I'm going to present it. I think it just flows better together that way. But what you're going to find in these first three chapters is what I always like to refer to as a lot of important table setting for the rest of the course. These are some real foundational issues that I think it's really great to have under our belt and as we make our way into the other chapters in our textbook there. So I like to cover these first just to kind of get that foundation, again, that table setting in place there. So in chapter 1, it's really going to be all about the science of human sexuality, how we know what we know, and importantly, what we don't know, and why we can't learn certain things when it comes to human sexuality. One of the things you're going to find out in this chapter, among other things, is that studying human sexuality is probably the most notoriously difficult area in psychology to get accurate data about human behavior. You know, we really can't spy 24/7 on people directly in their homes and in their lives and what they're doing sexually by themselves or with each other. So we have to rely upon largely surveys. We ask people to tell us what they're doing as opposed to us directly observing them. And of course, that poses some very interesting challenges when it comes to honesty, if anything else. And so just some food for thought there. But you're going to see there are some unique issues when it comes to collecting data about human sexuality. And as I just said, people may not always want to be honest. You got to deal with the age of the persons, the culture that they're in. Now, there's all kinds of things that can make it really difficult sometimes to get, truly accurate information. So we just have to go with what we've got. But with a big grain of salt, sometimes you're going to see. But part of what you're going to understand by the time we leave this chapter 2 is that there is often a difference between what we think people are doing sexually or what we think they should do sexually versus what they actually do. You're going to come across that time and time again throughout the course that you may have ideas about what certain types of categories of people might do sexually, but you're probably going to find out, maybe much to your surprise and even dismay sometimes, that people are doing things and a frequency of doing those things as well that maybe you just had really not ever considered or even wanted to think about. So there's definitely that whole menu of things that's going to come out there. But so interesting stuff in that first chapter you're going to see, including the history of sexuality too, which is some fun stuff to look at. Our next chapter is chapter 10, which is all about the lifespan approach to human sexual development there. So starting there all the way in the womb, all the way up until old age and everything in between, we're going to go ahead and drill down into some issues that definitely pertain to each parts of the lifespan. Again, you may have pre-existing notions of what you think is appropriate or to be expected or, quote, normal for a person of a certain age, but you're probably going to be surprised to learn there's a lot of variety there, and people are definitely doing things, and again, a frequency of activities that maybe you just really had not considered, and that holds true all the way through the lifespan. There are definitely some, typical things that we find around certain ages, but we shouldn't marry ourselves to that and say, well, because you're 24 years old, because you're 83 years old, that you should or should not be doing certain things. This is definitely an area where individual differences are going to definitely figure, but there's also going to be a general pattern that we tend to see overall with people in certain parts of the lifespan. So it's very interesting, but also pretty eye-opening at times there too, you're going to find. So I hope you enjoy that part of the course. I think it's really fascinating stuff. The last chapter in this first unit here is chapter 3, all about hormones and sexuality. And this is definitely one of those areas that most people, including students, know very little about outside of some very basic things about what role hormones play in our sexual lives. Or it's not just all about reproduction, but that's definitely part of it. And so we're especially going to take a look at the sex hormones here. And in particular, we're going to be looking at the menstrual cycle in females of our species, and also the role of testosterone in males, but also in females too. I mean, one thing that many people don't realize is that the hormones that we find typically in greater quantity in females and in greater quantity in males, well, those are actually shared between the sexes. And of course, quantity does follow sex there, but we actually have the hormones of both sexes in our bodies. That's just the way it is, and that can certainly spell for some interesting situations sometimes, but that's what we've got. Now, we're also going to be taking a look at some of the problems that go along with the menstrual cycle, and also with having either too much or too little testosterone. I mean, you may have heard about those things. It's really critical for your sex drive for both females and males, regardless of anything else. But we'll get to all that, and that's some really interesting information there. Now, also what you're going to find from time to time in the lecture, I am going to reference some external websites that I will provide links to in the unit. And you can actually take a look at those. Those are really interesting, either brief news articles or radio reports or just video reports that I've gotten from some either local or national news networks. There's some really great stuff. I'm really choosy in the kind of content I pick to post an external link to, because I don't want to have anything boring or, frankly, too long, but something that's really to the point and really kind of compelling to take a look at. So I hope you do take a look at those. It'll really round out and add to what we present in the course here in lectures. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this introductory video. There'll be all these introductory videos for each unit of the course there, so please do just take a quick look at them, or listen as the case may be, and I think you'll get more out of the unit, just kind of having a heads up like that about what's to come in that particular unit. So I'll let you go, and you can get started on diving into Unit 1 here.